Corpus Christi police released a timeline of 21-year-old Harris's last known location. No one has seen him since a Snapchat he sent just after 3 a.m. on March 4th.
We have not been able to prove one way or the other whether foul play was involved.
Okay, so that's the Snapchat photo that Caleb sent his sister at 3 in the morning.
There have been many search efforts by police and volunteers since then. Many people who don't even know Harris. And that's the case for most of the people that gathered at the prayer vigil.
New at 6, human remains have been found close to the apartment where 21-year-old Caleb Harris went missing in Corpus Christi more than 3 months ago.
We do start tonight with breaking news as forensic scientists in Corpus Christi police have determined the human remains found inside of a wastewater station just last month are in fact those of Caleb Harris.
Is this case over?
No, it's not over. It's still an open investigation on our part. At this point, we're waiting for the remains to be returned to the medical examiner and for him to issue his final autopsy report.
You know, at one point in the investigation, y'all were looking at whether or not foul play may have been involved. Is that still the case?
We have not been able to prove one way or the other whether foul play was involved, but we have exhausted a tremendous amount of investigative effort and time. We followed up on a tremendous amount of leads in the area, and our investigation at this point is pretty close to being concluded as far as that goes.
That included Corpus Christi Police and the family's own private investigator that it's hired. That PI believes that based on the facts of the case, Harris was taken or abducted by someone.
It has been processed. It did lead us to different individuals that we identified that were in that area at that roughly that time of that evening. So what we had early on, we mentioned that we went out shortly after he went missing, and we scoured the area looking for surveillance video. Unfortunately, because it was so foggy that night, a lot of the video was very poor quality. We did notice several vehicles moving through the area, moving up and down Ennis Jocelyn in the immediate area that evening. But because the video was so poor, we couldn't get license plates off the vehicles. In most cases, it was really hard to determine a make and a model, other than maybe a blue 4-door or a white 2-door, you know, that was, or a pickup truck. But that's where all the effort and the time and the investigation went in as far as the digital search warrants. So what we did is our investigators began issuing search warrants for cell tower data, you know, all the cell towers in the area. We did gosh, I can't think of the name of it now. Anyway, we did cell tower dumps. We used that information to identify what we believed were the drivers of these vehicles moving through the area. We did identify them, and we interviewed them, and we were at the point when the remains were found in the lift station. We had pretty much gotten to the end of that investigation, and we had it hadn't bore the fruit that we thought it would. Our initial suspicion was that Caleb got in a vehicle with somebody and left the area, and that was kind of what we were acting on. That was our where we were going with the investigation. But once we got all that information back, we identified these individuals that were in the area. We went out, our investigators interviewed them, and we were, based on the investigation, we were able to determine that they had no connection to Caleb. We went through his digital data, through his laptop, through his social media. We even were able to clone his phone as well. We never did find his cell phone, but what our investigators did, our forensic computer people who did a tremendous job, they basically cloned his phone, which is something that was quite unusual. And still, they were unable to establish any connection between Caleb and any of the people that had gone through that area at that time, at that night. We haven't been able to find any evidence that clearly suggests that he was met with foul play, that there was a homicide involved. Because of the state of the remains, it was difficult we couldn't even make the medical examiner here couldn't make an identification and had to send it off to the University of North Texas for DNA analysis. But what has been learned was there's no obvious signs of trauma to what remains are available. There's no gunshot wounds, there's no obvious knife wounds or hatchet wounds or anything like that that would tell us, yes, he was murdered. At the same time, there's nothing, because there wasn't enough of the remains there, we can't say beyond a doubt that he wasn't murdered.